Most people are waiting for the perfect conditions. They're waiting for someone to hold their hand, for their bank account to be full, or for that magical burst of energy to come along. But let me tell you something, that day will never come. Success doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Success creates them. When I say do it alone, I'm not suggesting you should alienate yourself from others. No, what I mean is that at the end of the day, your success is your responsibility. You can't wait for someone else to make it happen for you. You've got to be willing to stand on your own 2 feet, even when everyone else has abandoned ship. Think about it. Every great inventor, every successful entrepreneur, every person who's ever made a significant impact on this world, they all had moments where they stood alone. Thomas Edison didn't have a cheering squad when he was failing for the 1,000th time trying to invent the light bulb. No, he was alone in his workshop, probably broke from all his failed attempts and undoubtedly tired. But did he give up? Absolutely not. Now, let's talk about being broke. Being broke isn't a life sentence. It's a temporary state. But here's the kicker. It's a state that can fuel your fire if you let it. When you're broke, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's a powerful position to be in. I remember a time when I was so broke I couldn't afford to pay attention. But you know what? That financial emptiness filled me with a hunger that no amount of money could satisfy. It made me creative. It made me resourceful. It made me hustle like I've never hustled before. You see, when you're broke, you can't throw money at your problems. You've got to use your brain. You've got to innovate. You've got to find solutions that others overlook because they're too busy throwing money around. Being broke forces you to become valuable and tired. Oh, let me tell you about tired. Tired is when you've worked a full day at your job, come home to your family, put the kids to bed, and then stay up until 2 working on your dream. Tired is when you wake up at 5 a.m. to squeeze in some more work before heading back to your day job. Tired is what happens when you're giving everything you've got to make your dreams a reality. But here's the secret about being tired. It's a sign that you're putting in the work. It's evidence that you're not just dreaming, you're doing. And in this game of success, the doers always win over the dreamers. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but Jim, it's too hard. I can't do it alone. I'm too broke. I'm too tired. And to that I say, so what? So what if it's hard? So what if you're alone? So what if you're broke and tired? The question isn't whether you can do it under these conditions. The question is, will you? You see, success isn't about having ideal conditions. Success is about what you do with the conditions you've got. It's about your mindset, your determination, your unwillingness to quit no matter what life throws at you. Let me share a little secret with you. The most successful people I know, the ones who've really made it, they all have one thing in common. They've all been alone, broke, and tired at some point in their journey. But you know what else they have in common? They never gave up. They understood that being alone meant they had to rely on themselves, and in doing so, they became self-reliant. They knew that being broke meant they had to create value, so they became invaluable. They recognized that being tired was the price of their dreams, so they wore their exhaustion like a badge of honor. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. In fact, I guarantee you it's going to be hard. There will be days when you want to quit. Days when you look at your empty bank account and wonder if it's all worth it. Nights when you're so tired you can barely keep your eyes open, let alone work on your goals. But those moments, those difficult, lonely, broken, tired moments, that's where champions are made. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. That's where you prove to yourself and the world what you're really made of. You see, anyone can succeed when conditions are perfect. Anyone can win when they've got a team of supporters, a fat bank account, and all the energy in the world. But it takes a special kind of person to succeed when they're alone, broken, tired. And let me tell you something, you are that special kind of person. How do I know? Because you're here, you're listening, you're willing to do what it takes, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Now let's break this down a bit further. Let's talk about what it really means to do it alone. Doing it alone doesn't mean you don't have any support. It means you're not waiting for support to get started. It means you're willing to take that first step even if no one else believes in you yet. Doing it alone means being your own biggest cheerleader. It means motivating yourself when there's no one else around to do it for you. It means picking yourself up when you fall, dusting yourself off, and getting right back in the game. But here's the beautiful thing about doing it alone. When you start moving, when you start taking action, you'll find that you're not alone for long. Success is a funny way of attracting people. When you're out there hustling, when you're making things happen despite the odds, people will start to notice. They'll be drawn to your energy, your determination, your unwillingness to quit. And before you know it, you'll have a tribe of like-minded individuals around you. People who admire your grit, who are inspired by your persistence. But remember, even when that happens, even when you've got a whole army behind you, you've got to maintain that do-it-alone mentality. Because at the end of the day, your success is still your responsibility. Now, let's talk about being broke. Being broke is not a character flaw. It's a temporary financial state. But it's a state that can teach you invaluable lessons if you're willing to learn. When you're broke, you learn the true value of money. You learn to appreciate every dollar, every dime. You learn to prioritize, to distinguish between what you want and what you need. These are lessons that will serve you well even when you're no longer broke. Being broke forces you to be creative. When you can't throw money at a problem, you've got to use your brain. You've got to innovate. You've got to find solutions that others might overlook. And in doing so, you develop skills that are far more valuable than money. Think about some of the most successful companies in the world. Many of them started in garages, dorm rooms, or small apartments. They didn't have millions in startup capital. They had ideas, determination, and the willingness to make things work with whatever resources they had available. That's the power of being broke. It strips away all the non-essentials and forces you to focus on what really matters. It makes you hungry, and hunger is a powerful motivator. But here's the thing about being broke. It's not a permanent condition unless you allow it to be. Being broke is simply a challenge, a hurdle to overcome. And every time you overcome a hurdle, you get stronger. You get smarter. You get better. So if you're broke right now, don't despair. See it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop skills that will serve you for the rest of your life. Use your current financial state as fuel for your fire. Let it drive you to work harder, to think smarter, to become more valuable. And now let's address the elephant in the room, being tired. Tiredness is the price of admission for success. If you're not tired, you're not working hard enough. If you're not exhausted at the end of the day, you're not pushing yourself to your limits. But here's the thing about being tired. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do despite how you feel. Anyone can work when they're feeling energetic and motivated. The real test of character is what you do when you're exhausted, when every fiber of your being is screaming for rest. That's when you've got to dig deep. That's when you've got to remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. That's when you've got to push through the fatigue and keep moving forward. You see, tiredness is temporary. But the satisfaction of achieving your goals, of making your dreams a reality, that lasts forever. And let me tell you, there's no tired like the tired you feel after accomplishing something you once thought was impossible. So embrace the tired. Wear it like a badge of honor. Let it remind you that you're putting in the work, that you're paying the price for success. Because one day you'll look back on these tired days and nights and you'll smile. You'll smile because you'll know that every yawn, every heavy eyelid, every moment of exhaustion was worth it. Now, we've talked about doing it alone. We've talked about being broke. We've talked about being tired. But the most important part of our message today is this: never give up. Never giving up doesn't mean you don't have moments of doubt. It doesn't mean you don't have days when you want to throw in the towel. Never giving up means that despite those moments, despite those days, you keep going. Never giving up means understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every failed attempt, every setback, every obstacle, these are not reasons to quit. They're opportunities to learn, to grow, to get better. Think about it this way: every time you fail, you eliminate one way that doesn't work. You get closer to finding the way that does work. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of someone who never gives up. Never giving up means being willing to adapt, to change your approach, to try new things. It means being persistent but not stubborn. It means being committed to your goals but flexible in your methods. You see, the path to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of twists and turns, ups and downs. There will be detours and roadblocks along the way. But as long as you never give up, as long as you keep moving forward, you will eventually reach your destination. And here's the beautiful thing about never giving up. It's a choice. It's a decision you make every single day. It's not something you do once and then you're set for life. It's a continual commitment to your dreams, to your goals, to the person you want to become. So when you're alone, when you're broke, when you're tired, that's when you've got to make that choice. That's when you've got to decide that no matter what, you're not going to give up. Because it's in those moments, those difficult, challenging moments, that you have the opportunity to prove what you're really made of. Now, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Imagine that you've achieved your goals. Imagine that you've turned your dreams into reality. How does it feel? Pretty amazing, right? Now imagine looking back on this moment right now. Looking back on the times when you were alone, broke, and tired. How do you feel about those moments now? I bet you feel grateful. Grateful because those moments shaped you. Those moments made you stronger, smarter, more resilient. You see, that's the power of never giving up. It's not just about achieving your goals. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the strength you develop, the skills you learn, the character you build. And let me tell you something, that character, that strength, that resilience, it's worth far more than any material success. Because once you develop those qualities, once you prove to yourself that you can do it alone, that you can succeed even when you're broken, tired, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. So I want you to make a commitment right here, right now, a commitment to yourself, a commitment to your dreams, a commitment to never, ever give up. I want you to promise yourself that no matter how alone you feel, no matter how broke you are, no matter how tired you become, you will keep going. You will keep pushing. You will keep striving for your goals. Because here's the truth, the only real failure in life is giving up. As long as you keep going, as long as you keep trying, you haven't failed. You're still in the game. And as long as you're in the game, you've got a chance to win. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jim, you don't understand my situation. You don't know how hard it is for me. And you're right, I don't know your specific situation. But I do know this, whatever challenges you're facing, whatever obstacles are in your way, they are not bigger than your dreams. They are not stronger than your determination. They are not more powerful than your will to succeed. You see, success is not about avoiding challenges, it's about overcoming them. It's not about having an easy path. It's about having the strength to walk a difficult one. And that strength, it comes from within you. It comes from your unwillingness to give up, no matter what. So when you're alone, use that solitude to focus on your goals. Use it to plan, to strategize, to work on yourself. When you're broke, use that financial pressure to fuel your creativity, to drive your hustle to make you more valuable. When you're tired, use that exhaustion as a reminder of how hard you're working, of how committed you are to your dreams. And through it all, never forget why you started. Never lose sight of your goals. Never let go of your dreams, because those dreams, those goals, they're worth fighting for. They're worth struggling for. They're worth every moment of being alone, broken, tired. You see, success is not a destination. It's a journey. And on that journey, you're going to face challenges. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have moments of doubt. But it's how you respond to those challenges, those setbacks, those moments of doubt that will determine your success. So embrace the struggle. Embrace the difficulty. Embrace the hard times. Because it's in those times that you have the opportunity to prove what you're proven you're really made of. It's in those times that you have the chance to separate yourself from the crowd. Remember, anyone can do it when it's easy. Anyone can succeed when conditions are perfect. But it takes a special kind of person to do it alone, broke and tired. It takes a special kind of person to never give up, no matter what. And you, my friend, are that special kind of person. How do I know? Because you're still here. You're still listening. You're still willing to do what it takes, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So I want you to leave here today with a new mindset. I want you to leave here today ready to take on the world, no matter what your current circumstances might be. I want you to leave here today knowing that as long as you never give up, success is not a matter of if, but when. Because here's the truth, success is not about having everything figured out. It's not about having all the resources you need. It's not about feeling energized and motivated every single day. Success is about taking action despite not having it all figured out. It's about making the most of the resources you do have. It's about pushing forward even when you're exhausted and demotivated. So from this day forward, I want you to wear your struggles like a badge of honor. I want you to see your challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to learn, to become stronger. When you're alone, I want you to remind yourself that you're in good company. Every great achiever in history had moments of solitude, moments when they had to rely on themselves. Use your alone time to work on yourself, to develop your skills, to plan your next move. When you're broke, I want you to remind yourself that financial wealth is not a prerequisite for success. It's a result of it. Use your current financial state as motivation to create value, to solve problems, to make yourself indispensable. And when you're tired, I want you to remind yourself that fatigue is temporary, but achievement is permanent. Use your exhaustion as a reminder of how hard you're working, of how committed you are to your goals. But most importantly, I want you to remind yourself every single day to never give up. No matter what challenges you face, no matter what obstacles are in your way, no matter how difficult things might seem, never give up. Because here's the thing, giving up is easy. Anyone can do that, but pushing through when everything seems to be against you, that takes real strength, that takes real character. And that's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. So I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Promise yourself that no matter what happens, no matter how tough things get, you will never give up on your dreams. Promise yourself that you will keep pushing, keep striving, keep moving forward, even when it seems impossible.